Hey guys, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you're having a great afternoon, great morning, great evening, wherever you are in the world. And today's topic I want to talk on, just to give you some tips, some marathon running tips for 2021, and just to give you some insight of some of the things that work best for me over the years in preparing for the marathon. I know a lot of you watch my videos, so you have an idea of some of my background, but I did end up running a personal best of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 35 seconds for the marathon at the 2007 California International Marathon. I finished in 4th place and as the top American in that race. And it took a lot of years, several years, to get the marathon right. So as you're preparing for your marathons in 2021, just keep in mind to not take yourself so seriously, okay? The marathon distance takes a lot of attention and focus and time in order to get right. And so, there's a lot of things that you can do where you can bypass a lot of the mistakes a lot of athletes around the world are making by investing in yourself, whether that's a course, whether that's a training plan, watching videos like this where you at least get some insight from athletes that understand the complexities of the marathon and know how difficult it is. I think self-development is absolutely essential if you want to run well for the marathon distance, because you have to learn what works and what doesn't work. And I think a lot of times athletes think that you have to do speed work. It's absolutely essential that you do speed work in order to run a fast marathon. There's some athletes out there that are just very consistent with mileage, and they've built up several months of consistent mileage. They're not just kind of lukewarm, like I'm going to run for 3 days, I'm going to take 4 days off. These athletes are consistent over a long period of time, and they get better results by just putting in volume. Whereas there's other athletes, such as myself, who really had to focus on speed and really had to focus on my leg turnover and really working on overall leg speed to get to a point where I could run 5:19 mile pace or 3:17 kilometer pace for 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometers. So 2021 is a big year. I mean, there's a lot of things going on around the world, as we all know. So it's affecting athletes in terms of their preparation. I think now things are somewhat starting to, even out in terms of races being open to other athletes. It's still a struggle for a lot of athletes to prepare for the marathons with what we see going on in the world. So as you're preparing for your marathon, just keep in mind what I discuss in other videos too. The faster you're wanting to run the marathon, the more that you do have to work on that speed. Okay, if you're trying to run a sub 2:30 marathon, or maybe a sub 5 hour marathon, which is 10:18 mile pace, if you're running 95 to 98% of your weekly volume at 14-minute mile pace, it's going to be very difficult to be able to sustain that 10:18 mile pace to break a 5-hour marathon. If you're trying to run under 2 hours and 20 minutes, what I did, you need to sustain 5:20 mile pace for 26.2 miles. So if too high of a percentage of your weekly volume is spent running at 8-minute mile pace, like I said, it's going to be very hard to be able to withstand that pace. It's a lot of athletes around the world are able to sustain goal marathon race pace for a certain segment of their event, but it's being able to sustain it all the way from start to finish, which is an art form. And a lot of athletes can hold goal marathon race pace for a specific amount of time, but it's really how well you have trained, you've prepared yourself in training to handle those very high amounts of lactic acid buildup, and then training the body to be able to clear it rather faster than it's building up. And that's really why the best middle to long distance runners make it look so easy, is because they've spent such a long period of time training at paces that are much, much faster than goal marathon race pace. And they've also paid attention to the other fundamentals. It's not, it's not just doing speed work. It's not just doing long runs and putting in volume. It's your mindset, it's your nutrition, your practices, your hydration practices, getting proper rest, jogging on recovery days rather than running too fast on those easy days. So in 2021, your marathon preparation, you need to be paying attention to those aspects of your preparation as well. It's very easy to run low on iron and ferritin because we lose that in sweat. And so a lot of athletes, without even knowing it, become anemic, and they run low on ferritin, or they run low on iron. And the only way to really find out for sure if you are running low on that is to get a blood test. Back in 2007, I had the same problem, and I was diagnosed with anemia. So I had to start taking iron supplements, a 65 milligram tablet of iron a couple times a week with orange juice, because vitamin C helps iron absorb better into the body. So it's little things like that. If you're trying to prepare for your races and you're not running fast, and you're having problems racing, and you're having problems finishing your workouts, and it's continual, and it becomes long-term type issue, I would highly suggest considering that in 2021 as well. Again, if doing those little things will pay huge dividends in the long run if you're paying attention to them. So if you're having a bad race, or having a number of bad workouts or bad races, don't think it's because you don't have what it takes. It's very easy to start second guessing yourselves and doubting yourselves because you're not getting the results as quickly as you want. Sometimes, like I said in other videos, sometimes you can do everything correctly in the marathon distance and still miss the goal time you're trying to run after, you're trying to achieve. Be consistent, have a long-term vision. Don't think that you're going to get quick results in this particular event. Sometimes it's going to take you several iterations of a 16-week block of training, or several years to get to a point where you can run the type of time you're trying to run for the marathon, whether that's a sub 3-hour marathon, a sub 4-hour marathon, or you're trying to break 2 hours and 40 minutes, or 5 hours, whatever it is. You're trying to go after a very competitive time. The marathon distance, even to start and finish a marathon, is a huge success. It's something that a lot of people around the world are either thinking about doing, or they've done it and they want to run a faster time. Most of the people that watch this channel have specific types of times they're trying to run for the distance. But there are other athletes that reach out to me that are planning to run their first marathon, and they have questions about how many miles a week should I be running, how many kilometers a week should I be running, how fast should I be doing my runs, my workouts, things like that. In 2021, you also need to start changing up how you prepare for that long run. It should not be, especially if you're trying to run a very fast time, it should not be a long, slow, easy long run every single weekend. Again, the faster you're trying to run, the more specific your training has to become. And again, you can still run a marathon, and you can still run a fast marathon just on volume. So you don't necessarily have to get into all the nuts and bolts of preparation and becoming far too technical and specific in your training. But the faster you're trying to run, the more these areas of preparation, as in, i.e. Longer tempo runs, spending more time running at that anaerobic threshold where lactic acid starts to build up in your muscles, and you start experiencing that pain. You have to get to a point where, if you're wanting to run fast, very fast for the marathon, getting that long run, or the tempo run as well as the long run, but especially the tempo run, getting that tempo run duration and spending time at that anaerobic threshold for a longer period of time rather than just a short tempo run. If you're preparing for a marathon, a 3-mile tempo necessarily is going to do that much for you. Yes, you'll get a huge physiological boost from running 3 miles or 5 kilometers at your AT pace, but you want to get to a point where you can do around 16 to 22K at anaerobic threshold effort. Okay, so again, you want to teach the body to burn fat at race pace, conserve what you have much less of, which is carbohydrates, for the latter stages of your marathon, especially that last 10K, where most athletes are really hurting bad in that last 10K, that last 6.2 miles. You have to be mentally on point in that last 10K, and you want to have the carbohydrate storage to call upon to be able to sustain the pace you were holding in the early stages of your marathon. And I tell you from my own experience that I had a lot of ups and downs in preparing for the marathon. I always visualized myself achieving what I wanted to do, which was back in 2007 was to break a 222 marathon. I wanted to run under 5 minutes and 25 seconds per mile for 26.2 miles. And so I always visualized myself doing it way before it occurred. I was still a 243 marathoner, but I saw myself getting across the finish line with 2:21:59 on the clock, and it did come to pass. I ran 2:19:35. It was not easy whatsoever. I spent from 1992 all the way to 2007 running, preparing to break that time. And very few athletes that over the years, the athletes that get the results are the ones that are sticking to their goal for a long enough period of time. You cannot just be lukewarm. In 2021, you're going to be up against competition that's putting in those double runs on a daily basis. They're getting out the door before work, they're running after work, they're managing their time well. You have to be in it 100%, especially if you're trying to go after your chosen goal, whatever that is. It's not supposed to be an easy task, okay? You can go out, anybody can go out really and run a few miles at race pace, but like I said, it's an art form to be able to sustain it from start to finish, and to sustain race pace at your goal race pace, and to hold it for the entire duration of your race. So in 2021, I just want you all to really stay focused, stay motivated, be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up when you have a few bad workouts or a few bad races. It's a part of the process. Go back and watch the video I made on this channel on process versus event. Everybody sees the end goal. Everybody sees the fast times, the fast athletes. They don't see the process. They don't see the hard work and the high volume weeks, managing, taking care of children and going to school full-time, working full-time jobs. They don't see all of those, the process piece of the puzzle. They see the end result. They say, man, that guy or gal ran that marathon time I've been training for years. How on earth did they do that? And you see that. But the secret to marathon success is persistent action over a long period of time. And that's how I was able to go under 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was not easy. I didn't have a lot of talent, but I was willing to put in the work for a long enough period of time, and I was persistent, consistent enough that it eventually happened. And I knew it was going to happen because I started here. So the same goes for you. See yourself doing it. Don't just, tiptoe through the tulips and think that you're going to get this result easily. Keep putting in the work, stay persistent. It's going to happen. It may happen in the next few months. It may happen in the next few years. Reach out to me, leave me a comment below any of my videos. Stay in touch with me. Let me know how your training's going. Visit RunDreamAchieve.com. There are training plans and running courses there for marathoners, as well as milers all the way up to the marathon distance. So there are a lot of resources there for you. And of course, you got the community here on the channel. Reach out to me anytime. I'll definitely reach back out to you and answer your questions if I missed anything in this marathon preparation video for 2021. Wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you guys all in the next video.